It's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. 95.7 FM. It's great to have you with us on a glorious day. What a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend ahead. As we were just talking about, the best sports weekend of 2025, non-postseason. We all love the postseason weekends when the Chiefs are in the playoffs or the Royals are in the playoffs or something like that. But we do have the NASCAR playoffs this weekend in Kansas City, but it is an unbelievable sports weekend. A lot of folks going to be outside. This is the best weather of the year. It's going to be gorgeous, and we hope you get a smile on your face and maybe step back from some of the things that have brought us down a little bit today. We're going to have a great day today. We got a good show lined up for you today, including the governor of New York, hearing it from fans at the golf tournament in New York that are not happy with her. Nexstar is standing by its decision to not air Jimmy Kimmel. We'll tell you why. We'll check in with Mark a little bit later on to talk about his Seattle Mariners, who won their division, and their super slugger hit his 60th home run last night. He stayed up late to watch this. And, of course, we'll take your phone calls and talk about all the news of the day. We will start with just a little bit of red meat, which sort of overlap from yesterday. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I assume you've heard by now, and not a lot of people talking about this yet because we don't know exactly what's going to happen with this. But there are reports that James Comey, the former FBI director, is going to be indicted in Virginia in the coming days, and this is in relation to what Congress believes, or believed at the time, and now the FBI believes, was him lying in front of Congress in testimony in 2020. This will get very, very interesting. So we can look forward to that story over the coming days as one party keeps going after another, and the result of the left going after the right has, of course, been violence. And that's once again been the story of this week, as we saw the shooter in Dallas yesterday going after an ICE facility, and his family now saying, well, we didn't know that he hated ICE or was that political or whatever. Well, no, because a lot of people don't talk about politics or share things, but they see things, they hear things, and they believe things. And many times they believe things that are untrue. And I'm going to start the show today with this monologue contrasting two different ways to fix the problem, because what we're all looking for is a solution. We'll start with the left and an expert on MSNBC. His name is Christopher O'Leary, and he's the analyst that discusses all things on there related to security and terrorism and intelligence. He's an analyst. This is their smartest guy, the smartest person that NBC News and MSNBC can find to discuss the reasons why people on the left are going crazy and shooting at our government, shooting at conservatives, shooting at anybody that they're mad at because they've been told these are awful people. Keeping in mind as I read this to you, when I back this up and argue the other side of it, I'll point to a person like Charlie Kirk, who went on campus constantly and said, let's debate this. And how many videos are there of liberals coming in and Charlie Kirk asks them a question and they can't answer it and they don't know the issue and they get deeper into it and their answer is, well, just because. I don't like Trump just because. I think ICE is mean and they're breaking the law and this is militarization of our government, and it's wrong. Nobody ever told these people that what ICE is doing right now is perfectly legal and that Democrats signed off on these laws that are being enforced. We'll get to that in a moment. The expert at MSNBC really got my attention when he said last night, again, his name is Christopher O'Leary. He said, you have to start looking at what policies you've implemented and what tactics you're using, because if you tone down the rhetoric, but you leave the other pieces in place, nothing's going to change. All right. So let's take that one sentence and let's break this down. You have to start looking at the policies you've implemented. Well, these aren't policies that are implemented. These are laws that are being followed. These are laws enacted by Congress and both parties that have been in place for decades. This is not new. There seems to be tens of millions of people in this country that think illegal aliens are not illegal, or that illegal aliens are not something that can be enforced. We just allow it. Well, maybe I know there's a law in the book, but it's wrong. No, the law is never wrong. You hear Democrats all the time saying, we're a nation of the rule of law. Well, the rule of law is ICE can do what they're doing. The rule of law is Trump can send in the National Guard. The rule to Washington, D.C. and clean it up. The rule of law states that we can close the border and we can kick people out that are illegal. It's never, ever part of the discussion on the left. This man continued, and this is what he said, referring to the shooting of the ICE facility. So, terrorism is theater. It's intended to influence an audience beyond its immediate victims. It's putting a message out, and terrorism falls into 3 categories. One of those categories is politically motivated, and the politically motivated ones, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens because conditions have been set that people start acting out against. Okay, now I won't disagree with that sentence, but the conditions have been set that people start acting out against, he's saying, are Trump's policies, that he's actually enforcing the law. My argument is people are acting out against, the conditions they're acting out against are conditions where they're being conditioned, literally the definition of the word, by media, and even worse, the politicians they adore on the left lying to them, or at worse than that, leaving out the actual information that they need to know. They can not like ICE. They can not like the police. If you're a bad person, you don't like the police. I'm always a little bit wary of someone who says they don't like the police. I'm like, really? What have you done? I don't worry about my privacy like I used to. I like my privacy, but I'm like, okay, what does my device know? What's my computer getting? What could the government find out? I got nothing to hide, folks. I'm not committing a crime anywhere. Since I'm not, I don't worry about these things. So what do we think about the people that really, really worry about these things? And I understand there's a lot of conservatives that are insanely private, want to be off the grid, don't want the government to know anything about them because they don't trust the government, that they think the government can come get them for no reason. But that's what they're playing to on the left right now, is the people on the left are being told, ICE can come get you. If they can go get a 5-year-old girl, this is a fake story that NBC has apologized for and corrected, use a 5-year-old girl as bait to lure her dad in so they can arrest him. That was the story, and it was not true. If they can convince you that's true, they can harden you to this. They can get you to act out. And as this expert says, conditions have been set that people start acting out. They do. This is really simple. This man goes on to say the conditions right now are distrust in institutions, and that's been building for quite some time. Agreed. How can we disagree on the facts of the matter? What he's arguing is what Donald Trump is doing right now is wrong, immoral, illegal. The conditions are set. The game has changed, forever changed. This is wrong, and people are going to act out against it. All they need to do on the left to stop this from happening is come clean, but they can't come clean because then they lose all their elections. This is what I want Democrats to say. They don't even have to admit that they're lying. They can go all Jimmy Kimmel and not even admit, hey, I lied, I'm wrong, I give you bad information. I want to know why, if you think terrorism is theater, and it's been going on well before Donald Trump, but this is going on now clearly because of the rhetoric that's being thrown around, Nazis, all the different names that they use against the right. We've gone through this a million times, the names that they call racist, xenophobe, that this is against the law, it's unconstitutional, it's un-American, one thing after another. What they never tell you on the left, in the media, never, not even as like the last sentence in a story at the New York Times, a nice little thing at the end. Donald Trump has broken no law, and every one of the things that's been written about in this story is legal. There are laws on the books. Why can't people on the left say, well, this is legal what he's doing, we just don't like it? Because the hard part is they have to change the laws. And it is easier for the left to enrage the craziest among them to go out and kill and burn and riot and do all the things that are happening out there. It's easier to get them to do that than to change the laws. They're never going to change these laws. Americans will not stand for open borders by law. They won't. They won't stand for people coming in undocumented, being legal citizens. They will not. The polling's very clear on this. We have 250 years of tradition in history in this country that tells us who and what we are. We are our own nation with our own laws, with our own culture, our own history, our own beliefs. And you're not going to change that. The only way to change that is to break this down some other way. And that's what they're doing on the left. They can't do it by changing the laws. They think they can do it by creating chaos and fear, or as this man said, right there out in the open, distrust in institution and terrorism as theater. This man is an expert on security and intelligence. His name is Christopher O'Leary. He makes a lot of money doing this. And he said the quiet part out loud. But people on the left hear these words and they hear them entirely differently because nobody has ever told any of them that we have laws. And ICE is not breaking the law. Do you think if ICE was rounding up American citizens getting ready to deport them, we wouldn't have seen that by now? Do you think there wouldn't be stories on that? There wouldn't be lawsuits? It would be Donald Trump. Here's the thing that Republicans have. When Republicans are in charge, they have to follow every letter of the law. Democrats don't. They control the narrative with people that the government's bad, that this and that, and these are the good people. The liberals are the good people. We're just trying to help some people from El Salvador become citizens and have a better life. Forget the fact that some of them have killed some people here, but we're just trying to help them out. There are laws on the books. This is very clear, folks, and they never want to talk about on the left. Every time you ask them about a solution, they're going to point to Trump and say, well, if he changed his ways and ICE would stand down and the police wouldn't do this and the National Guard weren't there, we wouldn't have this problem. But you know what? You wouldn't have that problem if you weren't motivating people on the left to believe these things are illegal, that the president has no right to do this. Explain to people on the left that there are laws, and Democrats voted for those laws. Many of those Democrats are still senators. One of them was president of the United States. He just left a few months ago. He voted for all these immigration laws. Barack Obama deported more illegal aliens than Donald Trump has. Fact. He did that. None of these people on the left that are shooting up ICE facilities know that. They don't share it now. They're blinding these people with what? Their two favorite words: misinformation and disinformation. Something we on the right never heard of until a few years ago. We heard the term propaganda and thought of the Soviet Union or the Nazis or whatever. But when they start defining this and saying the right's got misinformation and disinformation, they always tell you what they're doing long before the effect of what they're doing takes place. And the effect of the media and the politicians on the left, the words they have said, the way they have misled Democrat voters that Donald Trump is an illegal, well, the last time they said he was an illegitimate and illegal president, that he didn't win the election, right? So we got that for 4 years. We got impeachments. We got everything else. Now America's like, we're pretty good with this guy in charge. We've watched him. We don't think he's a nefarious person. We think he's pretty common sense. And yeah, he's a little bombastic at times. But you know what? We're America. We probably should be a little bit out front. And that's okay. They trust him. And the people on the left are still, between the media and the Democrat politicians, saying to the most extreme voters that they have, this is injustice. This is wrong. They've moved on from racial injustice. Now it's injustice for illegals. And ICE needs to be shut down. And this guy's on there blaming Donald Trump for his tactics with ICE, enforcing our laws, saying that's what's getting people killed. This is not hard to figure out if you take a look at it. The problem is 90% of this people in this country don't look at these things. All they do is hear something. They buy into their own narrative. They live in their own bubble. They trust the people they trust, and they're not told that Donald Trump isn't breaking any laws, and neither is ICE. And these are not heavy-handed tactics. They're not hurting people. They're not being violent with them when they round them up. They're giving them all their rights, and everything's being done properly. I am stunned. I'm absolutely stunned that I'm sitting here near the end of September, and we don't have any real stories of ICE and abuse. They really haven't happened. There's been nothing. You would think at this point something would have happened where an ICE agent stepped out of line and did something, and it would have been a major story, but it hasn't, which means they're all following the code and the laws. And yet the left is hardening these people to become violent, telling them it's all illegal. 913-408-7957. If you'd like to join the conversation, I'll take your calls on that, or I got a million other topics today. I am loaded for bear. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Yesterday at the Ryder Cup, they had a big ceremony with all the golfers there, and they introduced them all, and thousands of people were gathered around, and they played the Star-Spangled Banner, and the opera guy came out and sang it, and they had a flyover, and it was very patriotic. It's America versus Europeans. And at 3 points during the ceremony, they mentioned Governor Kathy Hochul, and they acknowledged her at one point where she was to wave to all the fans. And every single fan there booed her. This was on Long Island in New York, and they just let her have it. And then a couple of other speeches, they referenced her and thanked her for helping the host committee and things. And boo! And she smiled and waved. And it shows you that 8 little miles of Manhattan Island controls the entire state of New York. That is indeed the way it is. Let's go to the phones, and we got Cemetery Mark on the line. What's up, Mark? How you doing today?
Oh, Kevin, I wish I could say good, but I've got some sciatic nerve problems because of just what you said. So kind of struggling, but trying to remain positive. And when I hear what you're talking about and I think about law enforcement, I think about the ICE agents. These are trained law enforcement professionals. Like somebody builds your house, they go to school. You got carpenters that are certain levels of expertise, and that's what you have do these critical jobs on building structures. And so we have an ICE agency that's what they do. And
right.
I'm so tired of hearing the degradation of these people and the names that they're calling them and the fascists, all the terms that would stir the warriors, which is who is the transgenders, who they're after. These are people who struggle with their own identity. So we know there's some problems cognitively because they're struggling with who they are.
Well,
they're good people to use.
We've got Congress people like Ilhan Omar who wants to abolish ICE, but she's never gone to the floor and introduced legislation. Yes. I don't think she knows her job is to go change the law. If this is what she believes, let's put it to a vote and see how it goes. Don't sit there publicly and enrage people and say this is illegal, it's immoral, it's wrong, it's scary, your government's coming for you, and we have to abolish ICE. When she says abolish ICE, she means go shoot it up. That's what she means. She's not introducing any legislation to get rid of ICE. Her job is to write new laws and pass laws. They're not even trying to pass laws on immigration. Not even trying.
They're not, Kevin. And when you think about Ilhan Omar, okay, how many millions of dollars is she worth? I've heard talks of $30 million. Would she come into? How much money did she come in with? They use these people to spread a message. The deep state does, and they're not there to change laws. They're there to instill violence and instill people to protest against the right. And it's really sick and it's really sad where we are as a country. And I'm tired of hearing this from both sides. It's not from both sides. When you're a Jasmine Crockett and you hear some of these Democrats, they're dumb. They're just dumb. So we call you dumb. We don't say this guy is going to destroy our country. This guy is he is the worst thing since Hitler. He's worse than Hitler. These are things that instill people to take action.
Well done, buddy. Hope you're feeling better, okay?
Hey, thank you. Great job. Great show.
All right. Try a chiropractor with that thing. Maybe that works. Right? Don't they, when it's a sciatic nerve, don't they adjust the hip? Is that a hip? Is that a hip adjustment?
I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard a lot of athletes that have that issue, and they go get a hip adjustment. I'm not playing doctor on. Well, I'm sort of playing doctor on radio. I just don't know if he's tried that. It sounds like he went to the regular doctor, and if that's not working, might be worth a try. We hope he's doing well. He cuts the grass in the cemeteries. We call him Cemetery Mark. That is good stuff, and that is fun stuff. And it's exactly right. Until they try to pass laws on these things that they keep complaining about, it's hollow to me, but it rings true with people who want to be hardened and go out and do things. All right, when Uncanceled continues, Lee Sterling joins us from ParamountSports.com. We're going to talk about the greatest sports weekend of the year and some NFL trends next on KCMO. All right, welcome back to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. It's time to talk a little sports. I know the Chiefs didn't look very good last Sunday night, but they did win by 13 points, and that hasn't happened in about 100 years. So we will take it. A huge game this weekend, Chiefs and Ravens, and the losers in real trouble. They'll be 1-3. We'll talk with our next guest about that toward the back of the segment. He is Lee Sterling of ParamountSports.com. I love talking sports with Lee. I've known him for 25 years. His nickname is the Sultan of South Beach. He's a prognosticator and handicapper by trade, but is always willing to talk about just about anything in the sports world. And he joins us now. Mr. Sterling, how are you, sir?
I'm good. This might be, I hate to say it, this might be the best combination of games Saturday and Sunday we've seen. Opening week was great. I mean, some of those games were spectacular, the matchups, marquee programs. But Saturday, the afternoon and the evening window, you got games like Ole Miss, LSU, Texas A&M, Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Washington, Indiana, Iowa, Penn State, Oregon, and then even in the Big 12, a lot of really good games, So, I mean, it's loaded there. And then you get Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, the two undefeated teams, and then the two teams you talked about, Baltimore and Kansas City. Big game. You go 1-3, you're in big trouble. It's going to be tough to make the playoffs.
And in addition to that, it's the final weekend of the Major League Baseball season, and the wild cards are coming down to the end. And the Ryder Cup is this weekend. I've been calling this the best sports weekend of the year that isn't like postseason. There's some March Madness weekend or something maybe where people argue that that's the best sports weekend. But this is crazy. I want to ask you about something. I know that I haven't teased you on this yet or prompted you on this yet. Yeah. I just saw a stat that 10 days ago, the Detroit Tigers had a 99% chance of winning the division. They are now one game back of Cleveland. Well, I think it's been 12 days ago now. They have absolutely blown this thing. Cleveland has won 12 out of 13, and Detroit has lost 11 out of 12. Has anything like this ever happened in baseball this dramatically in the last 2 weeks?
I think there was one. I think the Red Sox might have blown something close, but not quite this much. They had a bigger lead to overcome, but it was over maybe 45, 50 days. But I've never seen anything like this in a week and a half's time where a team is totally gone in the tank and another team has come out of nowhere. I think the reason Cleveland's come out of nowhere is good young pitching and finally come around all at once and timely hitting. So just shows you got to play all 162 games sometimes.
I think the one loss in that streak for Cleveland was to the Royals. And I'm telling you, 3 weeks ago, the Royals were 2.5 games ahead of the Guardians. And now they're going to win the division. We never for any moment thought the Royals would win the division here this year. This is absolutely crazy. So you referenced all those games that are coming up this weekend in football, which is fantastic. I'm curious about a little bit off the field. We've had so much Travis Kelce news here in Kansas City, and I've seen this thing on the Daily Mail did a story where some lip reader came in and tried to decipher what Andy Reid said to Travis Kelce the other night when he bumped him, and he said, "I don't know why I keep you on this team," or something like that. And Kelce's like, "Well, I'm hurt. My ankle's hurt." Like, they couldn't read his lips. Andy Reid's got a huge mustache and a microphone in front of his face. You cannot read his lips. Is the rest of the world burnt out on Travis Kelce? Because we get so much Kelce news here in Kansas City. We don't know how the rest of the world feels. What do people in Florida and around the country think about the Chiefs and Travis Kelce?
I think so. I mean, he's one of your greatest players of all time. He's been a part of so many Super Bowls. So, yeah, I think so. And also one of the other, if he was playing at a high level, then I think people would not get burned out, especially even the Kansas City fans, because great play can overmatch some of those things. But problem is right now he looks the same in a uniform. Problem is, you a couple years ago compared to now, this is just not the same player. So it's kind of sad to see that, but hopefully they keep winning and he can pick it up. But right now, his play and also, I mean, the theatrics and things going on are not what people want to see.
No, this is so crazy because we were always flyover country, and we, for years, I did sports radio for 25 years, and everybody would say, every caller, every time, nobody pays attention to Kansas City. Now that's all they do is pay attention to Kansas City. Josh Allen is the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. He took his entire team this offseason to Costa Rica, and nobody knew about it until just recently it came out. I'm like, can you imagine if Travis Kelce took the entire team to Costa Rica?
Right.
You'd know before they got there.
It'd be on social media. I mean, it would be everywhere. But Josh Allen's a pretty good guy, pretty darn good guy. Yeah. And if he wasn't on Buffalo, I'm sure the Miami fans like me and the Kansas City fans would even like him even more. But it's tough. It's tough to hate this guy. So, yeah, love what he's doing.
All right, you mentioned the Eagles play Tampa this week in 2 3-0 teams in the NFC. Drew Brees, the Hall of Fame quarterback that everybody knows about, another terrific guy, ripped the Eagles' offense, basically saying they can't keep winning. They're 3-0, but they can't keep winning with their offense the way it is. We know how many times they push it in a game, and they don't really throw the ball downfield at all. Is that true, or are the Eagles a throwback with enough defense and enough savvy with their short yardage conversions that they can keep winning the way they're going? What do you think of the Eagles?
I think we're going to see some regression. I think you're going to start seeing them lose games. They've been able to get away with it, win a lot of close games, but NFL stands for not for long. You saw, for so many years, Kansas City looked so good and they were finding ways to win. This year's been a little bit different, so you fall off a little bit, and I think they've fallen off on defense. They lost 5 starters to free agency. The guys they've, plucking in there, maybe not quite at that next level. They've been lucky. Like I said, they've had the same head coach and the same quarterback, but I think teams are starting to figure them out here, and they're gearing up for them. So I think you're going to start seeing some regression here as the season winds down.
Lee Sterling is our guest. He's with ParamountSports.com. Online, it's ParamountSports.com. Lee Sterling, national handicap champion. He excels at finding point spreads. My guy, Mark Van Sickle, our producer, Lee, is so happy when you're on because now he's just the king of the parlays. And Mark, what did you have? Did you have a 12-teamer the other day? Did you really have 12 legs in a parlay?
Yeah, I did.
And you lost one of them?
Just lost one of them.
And so you win nothing.
Exactly.
Lee, help me out. Should he be doing this?
Absolutely not. And not only should you be not to, I can honestly tell you as a professional bettor, I probably place 2 or 3 parlays a year. So here's the biggest mistake, and most people just don't understand the math. We're talking about just on a 2-team parlay. The odds of you winning are 4-1, both teams. More likely occurrence. So there's one way you win both. That's 25%, and that's if you're a 50-50 bettor. The other 2, you go 1-1, you win one or lose one the other way, and then the other ones you lose both of them. On a 4-1 chance, they're only paying you 13-5, not even 3-1, and then it goes up from there. A 3-teamer obviously is 6-1, 4-teamer, is 8-1, and they're just not paying you the right amount. So that, and then also player props. The biggest mistake is not only play them straight up, or once in a while play a 2-team parlay. You don't know how many people, I go to parties and they show up and they show me their screens of losing 4 to 12-team parlays where they lost one game. So if you're that good, limit yourself and you'll end up becoming a winner. And then on top of that, they do a lot of player props with the same team. Mm-hmm. So when you're doing player props with the same team, let's say, you like Philadelphia and you think they're going to score, some points. Well, you don't want to do Saquon Barkley to have a rushing touchdown and also Jalen Hurts to have a rushing touchdown and one of the receivers to have a receiving touchdown. Let's say they score 4 touchdowns, which is hard in the NFL. You have to correctly pick 3 of them. So it's either going to be Smith or Brown that score. Maybe they're tight end. They have a good tight end too. He scores and then you're busted. So you're basically betting against yourself when you do the same team more than 1 touchdown. So those are just some of the biggest mistakes I notice that bettors make.
All right, I'm going to pick your brain on behalf of our listeners here with a couple of our local games. We've got a big local weekend in the Kansas City area. KU, K-State, Missouri are all home. NASCAR has the playoffs at Kansas Speedway, and the Chiefs are hosting the Ravens. Let's start in Lawrence. The Kansas Jayhawks, they might be a threat in the Big 12. They're a 5-point favorite at home against Cincinnati. I don't know much about the Bearcats. Yep. Who you like in this one?
Well, let me tell you a little bit about them. They should have beaten Nebraska that first game. 3 transfer receivers came in, and the receivers are this kid Allen, really good. Cyrus Allen, he came in from Texas A&M. Jeff Caldwell, he came in from a small school, all Big South there. And then Caleb Goody, he came in from Colorado State. And then they brought in a transfer running back, Tyree Walker from Wisconsin. So these guys are all playing at a high level. Like I said, they should have beaten Nebraska. I thought Kansas caught West Virginia at the perfect time off the backyard brawl that they won. I think West Virginia is awful. They were able to cruise to a win here. I think they're begging you to play Kansas. Don't fall for the trap. I think they win this game 33-30. Cincy is also off of a bye week. It'll help them prepare. I know they've been terrible on the road, but this is their season. I think Kansas wins 33-30. but I think Cincinnati's going to find a way to cover. This game's going to be decided by one possession.
Kansas State's at home against Central Florida. It is the 5th straight game the Wildcats have been favored. They've covered in none to this point, and they're 1-3 for the season. They're a 6-point favorite against Central Florida. Please explain why.
I don't know why they should be favored. This is a team right now that's playing with no urgency, not playing up to their potential. I think Scott Frost, this is the perfect team for Scott Frost at UCF, not Central Florida, as Bill Belichick called them. So they were fired up for last week to face Bill Belichick. I think they're going to get up 2 straight weeks. They're playing for their fallen coach. Their offensive line coach, Sean Clark, passed away. So they're outstanding opponents by 3.37 yards per play. UCF, not Central Florida, is the play here. They're top 10 in the country in offense here, and just think Kansas State, too many turnovers here. They keep getting outgained. The big eye don't lie. Central Florida, wrong team favored, 31-27.
All right, everybody wants to know about the Chiefs and Ravens. The 1-3, whoever loses this is 1-3. Do you think the team that loses will miss the playoffs? And what do you think of this game?
No, actually, I think either team that loses is still going to make the playoffs, but it's a big game. You want to still have a chance to win your division here. Biggest problem here for Baltimore, with 6 minutes remaining in the first half on Monday night, their offense only had 5 minutes time of possession. So if you're going to try to win games with a bad defense, you got to keep them off the field. They've been on the field too long, all playing Monday night. Last year, Kansas City was a 2.5-point favorite and won the game. Now the 2.5-point underdog. I don't think there's been a change in 5 points. These two teams, I think Kansas City's starting to get their mojo back. They faced one of the best defensive lines last week in the Giants. Not the best team, but one of the best defensive lines, and that's going to give them some confidence here. Another wrong team favored. The Chiefs get the job done here, 24-20.
All right, Lee Sterling, your website is ParamountSports.com. What will people see if they go to your website?
Football is front and center, obviously. You can get involved. We have the 1-week package. We call it September to Remember. My phone service through Monday night, just $97. If they use coupon code SAVE100, use the same coupon code we call it not October, we call it Locktober. We're off a 5-0 Sunday and Monday NFL record, so you can get, it comes out to less than $100 a weekend, just $4.97 through Halloween night. Use coupon code SAVE100 and the UFC card. 7 big selections from Australia tomorrow evening, just $37. Everything's up and available, and the baseball playoffs are starting. Check it all out. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
All right. Last week on the show, the games we asked you to predict, 3-0. And on my podcast, you were 5-0. Nice week, my friend. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sounds good. See you, Kevin.
Take care. There's Lee Sterling. ParamountSports.com is the website if you want to check him out. He did. He went 3-0 on Uncanceled, and then 5 other games on my podcast. I had him on, and he went 5-0 against those numbers. He's a good guy, and he's got a lot going on in what may be the best sports weekend of the year. Time to check in with Mark Van Parlay. Did you glean any information from Lee Sterling at Paramount Sports to not play the 12-teamers?
Yeah, I'll try to do less of that. I mean, the Packers, they just should have beat the Browns last weekend.
So you hit 11 out of 12 and feel ripped off.
I do.
You bet $5, right?
Yeah. So it's not like I'm not going out there and spending $100 on those.
Right, but imagine if you bet all 12 bets at $5 each. How much would you have won? $50, right?
Yeah, that would have been a decent amount.
That would have been pretty good. 11 out of 12, you should have some reward. That's really hard to do.
Yeah.
I think in Vegas, some of their parlays, they pay them down. Like if you get 9, 10, or 11 out of 12, you also get paid. It's just not as much.
Mm-hmm. I've seen on DraftKings now they have, not that they're sponsoring this or anything, but they're doing a ghost leg now. So if you miss one, then you can get it back if you select for that parlay. So you have to get it right. But yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. All right, we've got a sticky situation here. We've got a couple of ladies that went for walks in San Francisco, in a suburb of San Francisco. This is not the city. And in the suburbs, like most suburbs, there's just squirrels everywhere around the sidewalks and people's yards. One woman had a squirrel run out of nowhere and latch hold of her leg and start biting and scratching her for no reason at all. She got it off but had to go to the emergency room. She was worried. 2 days later, another woman on a walk, a squirrel, presumably the same crazy squirrel, came out of nowhere and jumped up in the air at her and got up to her face and scratched her and bit her. This is San Francisco. So what do they tell people to do? Be careful when you're out walking. There's a crazy squirrel in the neighborhood. Mark Van Sickle, what would happen in your neighborhood if this squirrel was running around?
This squirrel would get trapped by somebody and taken out into the middle of nowhere, Kansas, I think.
Trapped. How would you know you had the right squirrel?
I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd have to call one of my neighbors that really knows the animals.
Okay.
I have one neighbor that is into that stuff.
My theory is you can't identify the bad one.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure out at Timber Rock, where I live in West Lenexa, there'd be a Saturday morning 8 a.m. hunt. And somebody would notify a councilman that, hey, this is going to happen, and let the police know to stay away for a couple hours. I'm only talking about air rifles, not real rifles like the BB guns.
Yeah.
I'll bet you there'd be at least 50 guys in the neighborhood on an organized squirrel hunt that would kill at least 100 squirrels.
We have so many of them. I don't think that hurts the population.
I was just going to say that. Would we miss anything if they killed 100 squirrels in these people's neighborhood? We got way too many of these things. And all you really smart people that went to college and all the Nat Geo channels, I love all the nature shows. I understand every being, every animal, everybody's here for a reason. We don't need this many squirrels. We don't need this many Canada geese. Okay, we don't. There's no way. I don't know what squirrels add. They add something. I guess they help grow trees by burying nuts. I'm not sure. But we don't need this many squirrels. You don't think somebody in your neighborhood would try to kill that squirrel?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there would be somebody like that.
Can you name the guy?
Yeah. My guy across the street.
Okay.
I won't name names.
You won't name names. I love that. All right. What did you make of the Mariners? They won the division, buddy. Your team has won it, finally. How long's it been?
2001. I was a junior in high school.
Wow.
Crazy.
And Cal Raleigh got his 60th home run. And they have to keep playing this weekend because they're trying to get the 1 seed?
Yes. They're only one game behind the Blue Jays and Yankees right now.
Are you concerned? Too many people are predicting them to be the dark horse World Series winner.
I think that's fine. Let them play from behind. That's fine.
Well, people are like, nobody's thinking about the Mariners, but now all of a sudden everybody's talking about the Mariners.
That's true. I think they can do it.
I think baseball is a very unpredictable postseason, which is kind of fun. Go Mariners. If the Royals can't be in, go Mariners. The Vince Show's coming up next. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled.